And now we've got Jamie Pickett fighting Denis Tiuliulin, and I'm one of the few picking Denis Tiuliulin, and I've been on Denis Tiuliulin actually ever since the fight was made, because I think this fight is it rescheduled from an earlier date? It is rescheduled from an earlier date, and even then, I did have Denis Tiuliulin to win this fight here. Jamie Pickett, all this guy does, really, for the most part, is try and clinch you up against the fence and then use his wrestling. He might get a takedown every now and then, but for the most part, he's really just looking to get control time, using the fence, using his wrestling, and that's the game plan. It's not that exciting. I guess it's a good test for up-and-coming guys. Like, he did defeat Joseph Holmes and made Joseph Holmes look not as great as I thought he was anyway. And he did defeat Laureano Staropoli, who was on like a 4-fight losing streak then anyway. But yeah, Denis Tiuliulin, absolute savage, man. I respect this guy a lot for what he did. He took on Aliaskhab Khizriev on like 1 or 2 weeks notice, and a lot of people did not want to fight Aliaskhab Khizriev. He had like multiple opponents pull out before his debut, and Denis Tiuliulin just was like, yeah, no, I'll fight him on short notice. And he looked good. He was like a plus 650 underdog. Khizriev was minus 1,000, and Tiuliulin brought it to him, man, in the striking especially. He looked quite good, and he was having success. And even then, his defensive grappling, he showed very good defensive grappling, which I think is what's going to matter a lot in this fight, because that's what Jamie Pickett's going to look to do. He's going to look to use his wrestling, he's going to look to use his like just clinch control, really. And I think that Denis Tiuliulin's defensive grappling is good enough to defend that and keep the fight at feet, where I think Denis Tiuliulin is the better fighter. And looking more into Denis Tiuliulin's fights, this guy, when he knocks people out, he knocks people out. He doesn't just like finish them with a bit of ground and pound, and the ref steps in, and then the opponent's kind of like, oh yeah, I was done, or throws their hands up, oh no. Like, he's knocking people out cold, man. And I kind of want Denis Tiuliulin to win, because I would love to see like a crazy knockout on this card, because so far I am predicting quite a few decisions so far. Come on, Denis Tiuliulin, let's bring it, brother. As an underdog as well. I mean, I'm hyped for this guy. He's only 34. He's 34 years old, sorry. So he is getting up there in age. He is too old to be a prospect, but he's not old enough to. He's not too old. I mean, to be getting crazy KOs. Let's make it happen, Denis. Let's do it. 28% picking Tiuliulin. Most people picking Pickett. Pickett's got to clear his day path to victory, but whether or not he's actually going to be able to utilize that against Tiuliulin is a question. And I think that Tiuliulin, man, is just a better striker. If it's at striking range, he's powerful. I do think he's the better striker. He does have some good wins on his record. He's got some questionable wins on his record, but all of his losses are to great guys. Like, he recently lost to Ikram Aliskerov, who's going to be on Dana White's Contender Series later this year. Ikram Aliskerov, also prior to the UFC, was Khamzat Chimaev's biggest test. Like, Tiuliulin's not fighting cans to pad that record. I know it's not pretty. It's 10-6, but it's like 10-6 against great competition. I mean, he debuted on short notice against 13-0 Aliaskhab Khizriev, who could go on to do something if he was a more active fighter. But yeah, I'm gonna be going with Tiuliulin, man. I think he's just a savage in general, man. I respect that out of him. I respect the attitude of fighting someone like Aliaskhab Khizriev on short notice and making an account for himself as well.